Hi, I'm Richard Blanco. I guess my greatest claim to fame is serving as presidential inaugural poet for President Obama back in 2013. These unprecedented times have affected me or are affecting me in a couple of really unprecedented ways, things I've never felt in my life and living in this country. One is thinking about my parents who left Cuba, who left everything they knew behind for the sake of a better life, for all the promises and all the the American dream and whatnot, and now feeling suddenly I'm almost in their shoes, like thinking, having these sort of almost panic attacks of like, what if I have to do like them? What if I have to flee this country that's suddenly I feel I'm under duress for who I am. So it's just really, I never thought I'd see the day. I never thought I'd feel like that in America. The other is, of course, being such a public poet. I've traveled the country extensively at all kinds of events, readings, workshops. Really, just bringing poetry and the beauty of poetry to people also who I represent as a gay man, as an immigrant, and really, I spent most of my life on the road, which was great. It was like being a kind of a poetry evangelist or a poetry ambassador, and all that work has dried up. All universities, all organizations, either because their funding has dried up or because they're just terrified of bringing any kind of what would be considered a controversial figure of some kind. So I feel like I've lost my connection to this country, to this world, to these people that were like me, like probably feeling, you know, feeling out of place as I've done as an immigrant, as gay men, and like maybe now, what voices can they turn to? So that's been really, really hard. So what I've tried to do is sort of like, well, just thinking, how can I put my voice out there for those that might need to hear it. So I've pivoted and I've started to do online forums and workshops through my website so that people can connect to me, and I'm not dependent on someone having to bring me in, but rather looking at it that way. There's one recent thing that I'm putting together is called the Poetics of Protest, right? So that we can talk about how do we are we handling this as people, as writers, as mothers, as fathers, as children? Like, what is how do we deal with these times, right? So it's more than just workshops. It's also just an outlet, I think, for us to be able to talk, and to sort of find community, which is what we need most at this point. So that's where I'm at. I'm also, in terms of my teaching at the university, is another way that I teach Latinx literature, and of course, with that, I teach history of colonialism and U.S. imperialism. I wouldn't be surprised if one day they just cut that class out, because of its content. So, what do we do as a community of writers? I think it's interesting. I think poets and artists are sometimes like they have a little bit of ESP. So, when things are going good, they sort of peek under the hood and go, "What is not working? What are we not looking at that's not working, or that's really about to erupt?" And I think that that work we have already been doing, and now, ironically, now that it's has erupted, now we're thinking about how radical joy and beauty and community are. And so trying to lift our spirits up to keep the fight up, but in a different way, right? We have to stop and look at what's working, what is beautiful in the light in our lives to empower ourselves to do that other kind of work.